Okay, Attorney Walter Hnot, Disability Resolution PA. Hope all is well. Just a quick update. We're going to be answering questions for people who call in. Yes, over the past 2 days, we've gotten a bunch of texts in from claimants. We've gotten through about 90% of them. We still have about 10% of them to go ahead and respond to. But the massive use of text messages with the firm, boy, it is a lot of text messages. So we're catching up on them. Other than that, the way this works is very simple. You will go ahead and basically call the law firm phone number. Okay, 407 279 1754. When you do that, if you're like on the top of the call list, will go ahead and basically answer the call. When I answer the call, use a fake name, have your question ready right up front. Be ready to basically go through the details, no story mode. Here we go. Here's the first person. Hi, we are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
All right, my name is David, calling you once again, sir.
Howdy, good sir. How's it going?
It's going pretty well so far. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. If a person was under investigation, SSI, SSDI, or what have you,
okay,
if they were to see that person was sharing your videos on their Facebook page, could they use that against them?
No. In fact, I am kind of one of those interesting things where I'm an attorney that represents people for disability benefits. So, that would just be like a sharing of videos. So that wouldn't be anything at all. But like if you had a conversation with me or something like that, you could claim attorney-client privilege. So you could actually claim some privileges with that for them to use evidence against you. With that said, if you shared a video, related to the stuff I make, that wouldn't be something that would hurt you. But if you shared a video of yourself, like riding a horse in, let's say, Jamaica, on the beaches, when you have a back problem, then yeah, that could be a problem. Or if you share a video about how you're on a subway in New York City and you're supposed to have a lot of, person-to-person anxiety, that could be an issue.
All right, thank you. Can I ask you one more quick?
Sure, go for it. Yep.
All right. If you have a lot of stuff that was pasted on Facebook over the years and all of that, is it essentially too late, or will it look bad if you get investigated and they see you have started deleting a lot of stuff?
So, all right, there's a service out there that I've been thinking about having join as a sponsor that basically scrapes your profiles and deletes a lot of the stuff that's on them and then goes to other websites and deletes what they have about what you've posted. I've been thinking about that being essentially something that might be something that, I would like to, basically have as a sponsor to have people do to get them like a coupon amount or whatever. And the reason why is that at the end of the day, I think it's incredibly important for people to know what their rights and abilities are, to erase what they've already put out there, or at least limit who can see what they see. And so from my perspective with that whole situation, yes, there are programs out there that can go ahead, and companies that will go and delete basically all that stuff. Yes, it's one of those things that, at the end of the day, you do want to look into if you've posted a lot of stuff over the years that could potentially be problematic.
Okay, so if just to let me reiterate the thing. So if you have a lot of stuff out there and you start deleting it, and for some reason you get investigated, and they go back and they see that, hey, you showed here that you deleted this. Mm-hmm. Would that be used against? Because they say, well, we see you trying to pull a fast one on us.
I mean, to be fair, like, if something is deleted and you're trying to hide evidence, you know what I mean? Then assuming they could get a hold of it, assuming they could grab a history website that has your information on it, then they could maybe use it in a criminal sense. We're saying, hey, he's trying to obstruct our ability to gain access to whatever. That's why, like, with a lot of people, the wise thing, I'm not going to say to what degree the legal thing, but the wise thing to do is to basically go through what you have online, and then if you need to, use one of those companies that will scrape your profiles and delete your information. Because when I started to enter in with this one company, my info, some basic stuff, and my social was out there, my personal stuff was out there, like phone numbers and stuff like that. So it was definitely a wake up call for me, because as somebody who is, I have millions of views every month, and as somebody, for me, who, like, doesn't want a lot of people to know my cell phone, it's like one of those things where it was a real sharp awakening for me, that I was just like, whoa, I am not really protected out there in the wild. And the problem is, it's that all these different groups, including the Social Security Administration, they've got so many employees, they keep getting hacked, they keep losing information. And, it's one of those things where, like, at the end of the day, your social security number has been stolen probably over 1,000 times in different ways. And so, it's been shared improperly 1,000 times in 1,000 different ways. So it's, I think, a tough situation. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, because you're coming at this from, like, hey, I'm worried about some videos that I posted. I'm worried that they're going to use them against me, stuff like that. And I get that. And I get how that's like something you got to be careful about. But I think, realistically, at the end of the day, how old is this stuff that you're worried about?
Well, I think maybe 5, 6, 7, probably 8 to 10 years ago.
When did you receive benefits?
When I was like 8 years old, and I was
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You want that stuff. You want that stuff deleted immediately. Yeah.
like when I was like 10, like 3 years old, and I'm 49.
You want that stuff deleted immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got 1 or 2 more questions, but I'll save them for next time.
Perfect, perfect. Sounds good. You have a wonderful, wonderful day, okay?
You as well. Thank you so much for taking your time.
Thank you, good sir. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye. Perfect, perfect. Excellent, excellent. We're going to go ahead and take the next caller. Remember, you call 407. This is the actual law firm phone number. 407-279-1754. I know it's late. It's 12 a.m. I know it's kind of when we do it. Here we go. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
Yes. Hi. I wanted to know, I just got approved this year for Social Security dependent disability.
Mhm.
I applied for it about 3 years ago.
Mhm.
And because my husband passed away, so I finally got approved in March. I'm receiving the benefits. My question is this: about 2 years ago, because I didn't know that I was going to get this or not,
Mhm.
what I did was I invested in my education to do some digital marketing
Sure. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make extra money.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm still going through school for that. It's an online class. I don't know how that's going to affect let's say, I start making money, things are going to go well. How is that going to affect my Social Security dependent disability? Because, I'm a widow.
So, I mean, they're mostly worried about, are you going to marry somebody else that's not on, SSDI, SSI benefits? So, because keep in mind, widows benefits, does widows benefits have a financial restriction like that? I'm trying to think if it does. Let me think. Let me think.
Okay, thank you.
Let me see what I can find here real quick.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me see if I can find, like, basically something in here that will show off. Um, I mean, you're under full retirement age, right? You're under 67.
Well, no, I had to retire. I retired, let me see, I just turned 62 this past Sunday. I retired in 2021, March. I think it was March 2021.
So are you a disabled widow or a regular widow?
I'm a disabled widow, but I actually retired just a regular retirement because after 30 years, my job, because it was affected by COVID, they were offering retirement packages to employees who had had enough years. So I took the package on a regular retirement.
Okay. So just to be clear, yeah, I mean, if you're a disabled widow, you're going to get hit with the SGA limitation. So, I mean, if you earn over, SGA, then you've violated the rules and regulations.
I'm sorry, what is SGA again?
It's a substantial gainful activity. So,
okay.
Yeah, so basically, like if you earn over 1,620 buckaroos, 1,620, then you're no longer eligible
Dollars a month?
Yeah, per month, yeah.
Then that will hit my my benefits, my widow benefit. It's a widow dependent disability benefit, so that will affect it.
Yeah.
Will that affect it in terms of like, will they lessen it or will they just cut it off completely?
Well, if you go over $1,620, they cut it off completely.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So that's all I needed to know. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a wonderful, wonderful day, okay?
You too. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Perfect. We're going to wait for the next caller to call in, and then kind of keep rocking and rolling and having a good time. Just remember, widows benefits, like regular widows benefits, they don't get affected by SGA, but disabled widows benefits do get affected by SGA. Let's take the next caller real quick. Here we go. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead. Oh, we lost her. Or him. I don't know. Somebody. Let's see who's going to be the next caller. Let's see who calls in next. I'm just taking it easy tonight because it's like 12:16 a.m. Scrolling on eBay, just chilling out. Hope you guys are having a chill night, relaxing. Let's get a little applause going on. Let's get some feeling in there, some good vibes. Right, here we go. All right, here, next caller calling in. Speaker is on. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
What company do you suggest we use to scrub ourselves from the internet?
So I'm interviewing them right now, and I'm testing them myself right now. I don't want to tell you the one that I'm looking at because I haven't definitively chosen that that's the one that I'm going to back yet. But what you want to search is basically, okay, so you have different options. There's those that do a monthly thing where they sweep it like every month. Then they have those that do it like once. You pay them once and they sweep the whole thing once. So it depends on like what situation you're in. So, okay, so a lot of people don't know about the whole like sweeping thing, how they go and erase stuff, how they go into the dark web, how they pull stuff, blah, 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 blah. What you've got to start to ask yourself is how much of your life is on the internet that you don't realize is on the internet. And so, yeah. So like I had a person who did like one of those 1 hours with me, and he was pretty solid certain that I was not going to be able to pull stuff through his website or through anything that would link back to him. And I was able to because I used one of the programs that is linked to what, basically the cops use to go ahead and search stuff. And I guess what I would say is this, AI can search most of the internet in a relatively quick way. So here's the thing. When they say that they're going to get one fellow swoop, there's no way, because at some point a server is going to re-up and reload itself, and then basically your stuff is going to pop up again. So it's more of like one of those things where you're going to need a service for at least like a year, basically constantly pulling stuff down, pulling stuff down, pulling stuff down.
Okay, and you don't know when you're going to be ready to tell us Which
It's
one you
probably
prefer?
in like a week. I'll be ready to go ahead and talk about it. I'm going to do a video on it and explain why I chose a company. But I've been studying it because you gotta understand, like I put my cell phone into like 3 different systems. And my social security number has been stolen from the Social Security Administration, from the companies that work with the Social Security Administration over and over and over again. And so I was like, all right, let's just see what's out there. All of my name and stuff is out there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like my name, my social, my address, stuff. Like it's almost like they went through my garbage and they know what kind of food I buy from Walmart. So, it was just shocking to me because like, a lot of people just kind of feel like I don't know. It was shocking to me. I guess that's what I'm going to say with this thing is that like the amount of my stuff that's out there is just horrific. So, what I wanted to do is so there's two products that I want to have as sponsors on the channel. One is the whole like, going and erasing your life online. And then number two is basically the group that has these walkie-talkies that you can talk across, from like, Wisconsin to Maine or from Florida to North Dakota. Because to me, like, if you're part of the fragile class as a disabled person, if you have a problem with your phone, you want to be able to have communication with somebody who can come get your butt and fix the problem. So, like that to me is also an expense that I think some elderly people or disabled people should get because, I think it's cool when you have like LifeLock or whatever, or not LifeLock, when you have that thing where you press the button on your body, right? I think that's cool. I think that
Yeah.
has its purpose. But I would much rather, instead of having that, just have a walkie-talkie that can go across multiple states or have like a pre-designated thing where I could reach somebody that's going to like immediately do something about it. Because like, and I was so ask yourself this, and I'm curious to see what your answer would be on this. If you had the opportunity to press a button because you were in trouble, and some group was going to figure out how to solve it and then get back to you and maybe call the police, would you prefer that, or would you prefer a walkie-talkie that could reach somebody that that knows that they've got to respond to that walkie-talkie?
I prefer my watch because it's on my wrist.
Well, now,
Sorry.
but assuming your watch is right telephonic, right?
Yes,
Okay, and assuming that same cellular service would work,
is down.
right? But what we're talking about is like, and that's kind of the thing. These walkie-talkies, they don't necessarily rely on that same cellular service. So,
No.
assuming that there was a problem, and so like, okay, so let me give you my background on this situation. So you know how like Trump right now is like, hey, we're gonna work a deal with the Middle East, and there's gonna magically be peace, and it's gonna be amazing, and everybody's
Yeah,
gonna be
right.
yeah. So magically, we're gonna have peace with basically the Hamas and Islam, and everybody's gonna magically ride unicorns into the sunset. So when they work these deals, you get peace for like 6 months to a year and a half, and then you get the popping of a zit, and everything blows into a very negative situation. So for me, the way I look at it is, I would prefer to have communication with people that are outside of my direct area that know what to do. Because if I walkie-talkie somebody and say, "Hey, I'm in this situation," then they're going to constantly call all the different people to make sure that they're going to fix the problem. So I guess to me, like, I'd rather have a family member arrive inside a front loader that was able to push aside cars to come get me. You know what I mean? Like, but again, I grew up on a farm. I have a very messed up,
No, I get that.
yeah. So like, but to me, like, like what would I rather drive around in a bad situation? People are like, I want my lifted truck. I'm like, are you shitting me? I would want a front loader with a cab with AC. Put my doggies in it. I'll move whatever's in the way. So, but it's farm people are weird like that. They're a little, they're a little funky in that regard. But so my point to you is I will get to it. But if you see products that you think should be like sponsors of the channel, reach out to me or reach out to the product and say, hey, I think this would be good for the disabled community. I think this would be good for people to know about it. And, I don't really make a lot from I have one sponsor right now, which is, basically Chapter, which does the Medicare stuff. And I've only heard really good things from the people who have essentially used their services. Like I've heard no bitchings, which is impossibly good. Like I've never, like most companies, somebody's going to bitch. Like you'll find a Karen that will get in there and she'll do a good job. I trust me, I employ a Karen and she is like the great Karen of Karens. Like every time I see her at back office, I get an update on what the neighbors are doing. And they're doing fine, by the way. But yeah, so yeah, everything's good. Everything's good with that. But I will get that up to date and off to you relatively quickly. Yeah.
And how much should we worry about our location being using our cell phones?
Well, I mean, remember, your cell phone data is constantly purchased by law enforcement.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean,
that's everywhere.
Yeah, there's no expectation that you should have that they're not constantly, buying your stuff. Because remember, they batch purchase. So, like, one of the things that I don't know why it shouldn't be legal, but the government is allowed to batch purchase, basically your ping information, your phone information, where you've been, what's been going on. And they don't always need to have a warrant to do it. Like, there's certain situations that allow them to not have to do it, which to me seems kind of effed, but again, I'm not in crim law. And, like, I don't think police should be able to do ruses where they lie to you. It's legal for police to lie to you so long as, they don't create a physical document in furtherance of it. To me, I've kind of, I've owned a law firm for over 12 years now. And all I can say is this: they constantly make rules and regulations that are to the detriment of the American people, to the benefit of the control of the American people. And, it's always under the premise of we're trying to catch that one bad person, that one bad company. And I get that. It
hurts everybody.
But man, it's like, when they're like banning more firearm stuff because something happened where somebody illegally had a firearm, I'm sitting there going like, how could anybody be this stupid to ban the thing that protects us from the people that are abusing the thing? It's like, when people are like, oh, these firearms are so bad, they're so evil, how could we ever have them? Well, no offense, but like the first moment something horrible happens, somebody calls the police.
You reach for your gun.
Well, yeah, if you're smart enough to own one. But there's a lot of people who have been brainwashed to be like, oh, they're evil. Well, the brainwashed people are going to be the first ones to call the cops, who, guess what, are the people that are the good guys with the same firearms. So it just frustrates me because I don't feel like we can fix how Americans have become so warped. And I don't know what to do about it. I don't want to go into politics because anybody that goes into politics just gets destroyed because whatever idea they have, they've got lots of people who just constantly work on destroying yeah, whoever you are, whatever your idea is. Like they have entire teams of people who are just there to basically find ways to make an idea that's good look bad. And no idea is going to be perfect, and no idea is going to be great, and no idea is going to be the thing that saves everybody. There's no magical world-saving law that we can put in place. There is none. So, from my perspective, and I think Obama put it well. Obama actually, had the way he said it was, it's like football. You have a law idea, although he passed a lot of shit laws, but you have a law, and you want to pass it, and it's like in football, and you have all these people running at you, trying to tackle you. And sometimes you get a little opening to run it all the way, and you make it all the way, and it gets passed. I think he was right. I think he was right. And there was a Supreme Court justice that said, we have in this country a massive gridlock system where everybody gets gridlocked up until they find a solution that allows people to come together. But we are so gridlocked at this point because it's not about the politics of helping the American people. Like, it's not that anymore. Nobody cares anymore in the spectrum of the House and the Senate about like, how do we just help the American, they're all entrenched in things that they've whooped. If you look at some of these politicians, I mean, DUIs, criminal actions. I mean,
oh yeah,
I'm amazed.
Get away with all kinds. Yeah,
I'm blown away. Like, I don't know how. And these are supposed to be like our like star-studded. Like, we have faith in their capacity. Like, this is supposed to be the best of the best. and it's just it's just I don't know. I guess I've lost faith in the system of what it used to be or what it could be, and I'm at this point where, look, okay. Let me give you an example. Let's say I ran for politics, right? And I did, whether I was a House rep or maybe even a senator or something, something. Not saying that would happen, but the first thing I would do is I would take essentially a timeline of all the things that Social Security has done and all the things I want Social Security to do, right? I want Social Security, for all of its recipients to create a plan, organize a plan, and put all the people onto a Medicare plan, and then grow that into a Medicare for all citizens, right? And then, of course, there would be things for those who are criminals and things for blah, blah, blah. But, there would be these caveats drawn into it. But I want to get health care for the American people, because if we have healthy people, they're less likely to be criminals because healthy people are more likely to work, right? It's just, sure, there's a lot of people out there who don't want to work, and there's a lot of people who are lazy. There's even kids out there who watch their parents tell them not to work because it'll mess up their benefits. I get it, but we could legislate that and we could fix it to get people to want to work again. We could do it. It's possible. And then other things like, when it comes to additional types of benefits, I would create regulations that would require the government to reduce the retirement age over a 50-year cycle, back from 70 being the maximum, okay, down to, essentially going from at 67 for the FRA, full retirement age, down to, 66, 65, 64, 63, so that our country's duty is to invest in our citizens and the future life that they want to live. And I would force the government to spend money on the American people, AKA the things that make the government money. So I would just do things that would cause and force investments into the American people. And that's not what politicians want. What politicians want is an open checkbook where they can spend the direction that they want to for the wealthy people who want them to spend in the direction that they want to. And look, I'm not saying that that's ever going to be eradicated. It's always going to exist because rich people are going to be rich and richies are going to rich. And that, richies like to control stuff. You see his YouTube videos where like, just go and 10x it, bro, just 10x it. I'm like, bro, how do you, come on? Like, how do you constantly just scream 10x, and expect magically that you're going to make all this money, And so I just, there are some people I think that make a lot of money off of the hopelessness. So like when you see these like scammers out there, they're like, you're going to 10x it. We're going to mega build the product and mega build the profit, blah, 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 blah. Some of them have good marketing ideas. Some of them, it's basically like, how do we make the product the cheapest we can in China? And then how do we mass slam a media campaign to get people to buy into it and then get them on a rotation on a monthly purchase so that they're always buying our soap, And so, if that's the way you want to become rich, cool. That's the way you're going to become rich. And, it is what it is. But I don't know. I know what you're saying. I don't disagree with it. I don't see America knowing how to fix America. But the funny thing is, okay, let me ask you this. Final question, then I got to go to the next caller. If I said to you, okay, what is the number one way? What is the number one way that you would force the government to invest in its population? What would you say?
To force the government to invest in the population?
Yeah, the American citizenship.
I agree with some of the tariffs because we do need jobs here. We need to be able to support ourselves. We need to make our own things.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So how would you force them to create more jobs here?
I think Trump is attempting to with the tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
So, we can't give companies all kinds of financial incentives to leave the U.S. Mm-hmm. And if we think we're saving the planet by sending something overseas, guess what? They're going to make it even worse conditions over there. So, and then anything you do over there is going to affect the entire planet. So we're not really saving the planet by doing that.
Right. All right. Well, I want you to think about that. How can the U.S. government invest billions and trillions into essentially the U.S. population, the citizenship, going forward to create a better America? Because that's something that we do not seem to hear the government asking itself. And that is, they're always willing to throw out for the American people, for the American people. What is the largest investment they can make for the American people right now that will benefit them going forward?
And your singular answer would be?
My answer would be prepping their Social Security benefits so that they're covered, so that they're healthy. They have a plan so that when they work their entire life, they've got an actual retirement, because you can't sell, Christianity without heaven. At some point, you got to go to a nice place if you were good. So my point is actually build it so that people can enjoy it.
Okay. Now, one other quick question. You talk a lot about people who are like injured and have disability. What about like a heart condition that causes you to pass out? Are you still as restricted if you go to the grocery store, or as restricted if I take my little service dog outside for a walk? Is that still something that they catch on camera? They can say, oh, look, you're not disabled. I mean, I pass out in plenty of places and inspect ceilings.
I mean, anything and everything can be used against you in video form for the purposes of them to create an ROI. So like, if you're really asking, hey, what can they use against me? What potentially could be anything, any media that they can capture could potentially be used for and against you.
Okay. That's a terrifying thought.
Yeah. But let me grab the next caller. You have a wonderful, wonderful night. Okay.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cool. We're going to take the next caller real quick. We're going to take probably one more caller. Here we go. Speaker is on. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
Well, it's kind of like a rant.
Okay.
I've had the worst past 3 months. I fell into a windfall offset.
Okay.
And when I started contacting my office the month before the offset was to put my SSDI on hold. Okay. So I make roughly around 600 SSDI, a little over 300 SSI.
Okay.
So when they put that on hold, now I've set appointments. I've talked to 12 times on the phone. Started calling all local offices across the state, basically. Got no help. Well, I realized that if I lived in a home, it was in-kind support, because I could no longer pay the minimum, which is $343 a month for rent. So it was going to be considered, it would end up taking my SSI.
Okay.
Not once did any worker tell me that they could drop me down to $1 and I wouldn't lose my Medicaid and Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I lost that, then obviously I can't pay the premium. I can't pay anything. I die without my medicine.
Mm-hmm.
3 months after I've been homeless, living in a tarp in my car.
Oh, you didn't know.
Finally, they call me.
Oof.
Huh?
You didn't know. Okay,
Yeah.
That's all right. I got you.
Well, no, not only did I not know that, because I had made an in-person appointment, they told me my check couldn't go up because I was still technically getting paid SSDI, but they were taking it to pay back the SSI, what they paid me for my back pay.
Right. That does happen sometimes, yeah.
That was a lie.
Well, so
when my worker finally called me,
you had an
3 months in,
overpayment.
my check is now.
Yeah, but you had an overpayment, right? That's what they were coming after because of the 1/3. Or are you saying that they just reduced it because of the 1/3?
SSI paid me back pay. SSDI owed me $7,000, but since SSI paid me, SSDI is now taking my check to pay back SSI. But now,
wait a minute, your
SSI is back to
SSDI,
the full amount.
Your SSDI was a higher amount, wasn't it? The $600.
Correct.
So, I mean, shouldn't you have had more SSDI back pay? Unless it was the 4-month rule. Otherwise, you should have had more SSDI back pay.
SSI paid me.
Right.
And I asked them, does that mean that whenever I pay y'all back, you pay me what you owe me? And they said, no.
No, that's incorrect. No.
My lawyer did not cap out. So she should technically owe 25% of that overpayment.
Okay. So this, all right. And keep in mind, it's almost 1 a.m. So you were paid I got to take Sweetie out soon, but you were paid back pay. You should have been paid more SSDI back pay. What they normally do is they just figure out the difference. So, should you have received, my question to you, more SSDI back pay?
I don't know because I never got to see the calculation.
All right. So your next step
But
is,
now,
yeah, but here's the thing. Go get the calculation of what you were supposed to receive from SSDI back pay, because what they'll do is they'll figure out the difference and then basically they'll have to pay you that amount. You shouldn't just automatically have to pay back, you know, this SSI and then get the SS. They don't do it that way. The way they're supposed to do it is figure
right,
out the
but
difference.
who do I talk to? Because my local office refuses to do it. They allowed me to be homeless in a car for 2 months before they upped my pay.
I mean, that's because they're all mostly new employees. You know what I mean? A lot of people
No.
look
This one
FOs
I've been dealing with for 2 years.
well, I mean, I don't then they're getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Then that's massive. So if they're all right, get your accounting letter, and then the next step is you got to go ahead and basically figure out the difference what you're supposed to be paid. And then and I gotta take Sweetie out. She's barking at me, but you've got to
Okay.
then go ahead and request that the amount that you know should have received, because your SSDI should have been a higher amount of back pay. Because your attorney should
Right.
be on top of this. They should be like, look, I should have been paid more for my 25%. Because if you're only getting SSI back pay, that's a smaller amount than the SSDI. So,
I thought so too, but she's worried that she owes money, I suppose, and doesn't want to help
that's weird.
because they're not charging her because she didn't cap out. So she only made 25% of my back pay.
That's weird. No, get your attorney on that. That's I mean, I would have fixed that she could get more money. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
I
but
finally, and let me tell you to your viewers, I finally got it fixed by going on the website and getting the processing center lawyer phone number and getting them to write them.
yeah, I mean, that's so basically there's that, and then there's the regional office. But the problem with the regional office right now, which is the group that's supposed to fix stuff like that, is that they've reorganized it and gotten rid of a lot of the people. So there's like a northeast,
Yeah.
southwest, as opposed to a district base. But I tell you what, I got to
Okay.
take Sweetie out because she's screaming at me over here. But I'm going to end the video real quick. But you have a wonderful, wonderful night, okay?
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. Sweetie is barking at me. She's got to go outside. She's probably got a stomachache. I will catch you all later. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. If I helped you at all, please consider going to Google, Disability Resolution Law Firm, Disability Resolution Florida. Sweetie wants to go out. I will catch you all later. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.